What? Why are you shaking your head?
You're welcome.
What's up, Fantasy Points? We are back for week 5 of the DFS cage match. This is a show where we are going to draft DraftKings teams against each other. And we're playing for charity. So each week, Jake and I do this every week. We have a rotating guest with us every week. All three of us choose a charity to play for each week, and Fantasy Points will donate $100 to the winner's charity of choice. And last week, of course, it was myself once again winning, and I won for Drew Dinkmeyer's Welly Maker for charity water. So this is giving clean drinking water to people in need around the world. I think it's a great charity, and this is something that Drew Dinkmeyer does every single year. I think it's an awesome charity. So Fantasy Points will be donating $100 to Drew Dinkmeyer's Welly Maker. Now I'll introduce our guest this week, because we have a very special guest this week. Before I get into my charity, we have Cubs All-Star Justin Steele joining us for the show today. Now, Justin is a friend of mine. As I said, he's one of the best pitchers in the world. Also a friend of Fantasy Guru Drew, who introduced myself to Justin, who was our guest last week. So really excited to have Justin with us here today. And Justin, I see you are in your man cave. How are you doing today? How are you feeling about the man cave right now?
I'm doing great. We got the new desk in today, so got that installed. It's looking fresh in here. Really pleased with it. And yeah, my boy Drew, we just started up our own podcast, No Huddle Podcast. We're gonna be doing, something similar to what y'all do, chopping up slates, talking football and whatnot. And it's called No Huddle, so it's gonna be very unprovoked and everything. So that'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm excited about this episode. I've been doing some research, some early research for the slate.
Oh, that's cheating. You're not allowed to do research before the show, Justin. Come on.
Come on.
we're gonna have you review Drew's team, but how are you feeling today? Are you feeling confident in your ability to beat me after back-to-back wins? I mean, it kind of seems like I'm insurmountable. Nobody's going to be able to take me down. How confident are you right now?
I'm very confident. I already have a lineup that I'm trying to shoot for in front of me. So if I can get a majority of these players, I feel really good about my chances.
I love that. I love overconfidence, because that means I've got you right where I want you. You're feeling great about your chances. I mean, I'm shooting for the three-peat here. 90s Bulls coming my way. 3 wins in a row. Jake, how about you? You are 0-4 at this point. You can't be all that confident when you're 0-4. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I feel relatively confident about my future prospects. I mean, I think as long as I continue to just draft the highest projected teams in a 3-man format, eventually I'll come through. That said, I am pretty emotionally devastated after what happened last week. We'll go through the team shortly, but I was up by about 5 points with, basically no time left in all the games. Everything was pretty much over. Jordan Mason rips off a 25-yard run to put him over the 3-point bonus on a meaningless play at the end of the San Francisco 49ers game. And Neil wins by 0.3, 0.4. It was a devastating swing. I was prepping dinner. I was feeling good. I had a pretty solid Sunday overall, and then that happened.
No, the scoreboard makes it look closer than it was. I wasn't nervous at all. I kind of felt like I had it in the bag the whole time. We'll go over the teams from last week. You can see the scores when we get there. But it's kind of misleading, because I was just going to win. Like, there was no way Jake was actually going to beat me. That's the same case this week. We will draft our teams in a minute here, but let's go over our charities for this week a minute first. And I of course, this is actually Jake's suggestion. I thought it was a great suggestion for my charity this week, because Jake is going to go back to his charity that he's done every week. He's going to keep that one for this week. But Jake suggested that for me, I could be doing some hurricane relief for Hurricane Helene in North Carolina, hit really hard by the hurricanes. Many people dead. Really, the whole region is devastated. So I thought this was a great idea to choose Salvation Army. There are several great charities out there, but Salvation Army, just one that I know does good work. So Salvation Army for Hurricane Helene relief is going to be my charity of choice for this week. And I think right now, with everything going on, just one that makes a lot of sense. Jake, of course, you're going back to Friends of North Augusta Animals. Do you want to say anything about? I know you've done this 3 weeks already now. You want to say anything about North Augusta, Friends of North Augusta here?
Yeah, do a lot of great work for the local animals in Augusta, and I think they'll need that now more than ever with the hurricane impact. And I do really appreciate Neil taking my suggestion. I'm in a new location this week because of the hurricane. Thankful that everything with my life should return to normal, but obviously that's not the case for a lot of people out there. So if I don't win, I do hope Neil does, as much as I like Justin, just for the hurricane relief.
Yeah. And Justin, of course, also a great one, American Lyme Disease Foundation. Justin, do you want to say anything about why you chose American Lyme Disease Foundation for your charity?
Yeah, absolutely. My wife has Lyme disease. We've been battling that for a while. We've been doing, our own research, seeing tons of doctors, trying to get it nullified and get her in a better spot. But yeah, I mean, any kind of donation to a foundation like this goes such a long way and helps out, other people that are battling, the same thing.
Yep. Another great choice. Really, somebody is going to win for a great foundation this week. So glad we chose some great charities here. Before we get into drafting for this week, let's review the teams from last week. And we always start with third place. So third place last week, the loser last week was, of course, Justin's friend, Fantasy Guru Drew. And Justin, as the guest, you get the opportunity to review Drew's team here, his loser team, I should remind you. How do you feel Drew drafted here? How do you think this team looks?
I was just saying I probably had this lineup, maybe even in like cash contests, but definitely in my 150s. Definitely played a little bit of Texans D against Jacksonville. That's just with Jacksonville struggling. Thought that was a good play. Thought Marvin Harrison would pop a little bit more against Commanders D. Brock Bowers was a good play. I feel like he was heavily owned throughout the slate. Dunze was a good play. He just missed a few big plays, and then the rest of them I was very heavily ownership wise involved in the guys. Nico Collins, George Pickens. I played a ton of Roshan Johnson, thinking he was gonna get a majority of the carries. Then B Rob was a good play. Caleb Williams also thought he would kind of pop off against that Rams team.
I was very much with you on and I think Drew actually kind of influenced both of us, but I think it was really sharp. The Roshan Johnson play made a lot of sense. Didn't get there. He scored a touchdown, so we actually got a little bit lucky that he even scored as much as he did. But it was the first time DeAndre Swift actually looked awesome. Was of course when all of us were playing a lot of Roshan Johnson in DFS. So it didn't work out, but I think at low ownership, Roshan Johnson actually made a lot of sense. Brock Bowers, Justin, I know you were bully tight end in a lot of best ball this summer. Do you have much Brock Bowers? Because man, with Devontae Adams looking like he might get traded, that's looking like a pick that you're going to want to have going forward.
He was probably my fourth or fifth highest owned behind Laporta, McBride. He might have even been my third or fourth. I was pretty involved with him.
Nice. Okay. That is great because he's going forward, going to look pretty good. I think I was right about even with the field on Brock Bowers. Jake, did you have much Brock Bowers in best ball?
Yeah, I was probably about even with the field.
Yeah, I know you don't play as much volume in best ball because you start pretty late, but man, looking like he could be a league winner this year. All right, now up to Jake. Congrats on getting second place. I believe this is your second time getting second place now, so you're moving in the right direction at least. How do you feel about your team's performance last week? Do you think you drafted well? What do you think were your failures that led to you losing in such dominating fashion to my powerhouse team?
Yeah. Lost by 0.4. Real tough loss there. I'm really happy with my picks at the top here. Jaden Daniels, Kyron Williams, Chuba Hubbard. I think all fantastic picks given what we knew about the slate last week, and they all did pretty well overall. I also think I kind of joked last week about doing drafting the Rams defense as leverage for all the Bears players you guys drafted. I think Kyron Williams was actually the best leverage against the Bears players that you guys drafted, given that he averages about 10 more fantasy points per game and wins than losses. And obviously the Rams lost that game, but he's pretty much the entire offense right now with the way things are looking. Obviously outstanding usage there. Brandon Ayuk was, I think a really strong pick given his projection, given the matchup. New England's a major pass funnel. They run a lot of man coverage, but just did not see the volume. It was pretty disappointing. Juwan Jennings has more first read targets over the last 2 weeks than Brandon Ayuk, which is pretty shocking. If I did make any mistakes last week, I would say that Michael Wilson, Ray McLeod, and Bijan Robinson were all a bit iffy. I forced in Wilson and McLeod so that I could pay up for Bijan Robinson, and I'm not sure the process there was entirely correct, given that obviously Bijan was dealing with the shoulder injury. His snap share dropped from around 85% to 65%. That could be because Tyler Algiers just been playing really well, but I do think the shoulder played in there. Browns defense, I thought was more than fine. Dallas Goedert, I thought was more than fine. Browns defense had a touchdown with, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes left in the slate. And that was when I thought I had it. That catapulted me to the top. And I was like, it's over. I can rest easy. I had a great day, but no, Jordan Mason just had to ruin my chance at a win.
I will say also at the time, I mean, we do these shows on Wednesday, so we don't know all that we're going to know. At the time we did the show, it seemed like Deebo Samuel and or George Kittle were both going to miss. So Brandon Ayuk felt like a much better play on Wednesday than he felt like on Sunday, and still underperformed relative to what you'd expect with Deebo Samuel and George Kittle there. But yeah, that was kind of a tough run out there with both his star teammates returning. Obviously no McCaffrey, but having two of them return last week was kind of rough there. And for me, of course, feeling good, pulled out the win with Jordan Mason. I mean, Jordan Mason also probably, felt like a worse pick after Deebo Samuel returned. Luckily, still got to the 100-yard bonus, got the touchdown against the Patriots. Honestly, I was kind of saved by Deontay Johnson, who, of course, that was my favorite part of last week, was when I did the whole spiel on I'm going to go away from projections. I'm just going to go with my gut here, and then apparently took the best point per dollar projection play on the entire slate without even realizing, and it really pissed Jake off there. And feels even better that he had a great week after I took Deontay Johnson with my first pick. Jordan Mason, of course, got there 27 fantasy points. Can't complain about that. James Conner I loved the pick. Did well last week, 21 fantasy points. Jamar Chase did fine. DJ Moore, kind of a letdown. Cole Kmet, I thought I was kind of getting some leverage on Drew's Bears stacks with DJ Moore, Cole Kmet. They didn't really do anything for me. Andre Yoshevich, kind of underwhelming against Carolina. Eagles defense Drew forced me into when he took the Texans defense, and looks, I guess I benefited from that. Got 3 extra fantasy points by getting the Eagles there, and I did stack here with Andy Dalton and Deontay Johnson. That was kind of a discussion point we had last week. Probably don't need to be stacking in a 3-man. I've been doing it anyway, just because I'm just so GPP brained. I can't help myself. The stack did okay. It was cheap enough that it didn't really hurt me. So
Deontay dropped a touchdown too.
Did he really?
That would have helped. Yeah, he dropped a touchdown in that game, so that would have helped Andy and him as well.
Yeah, good point. So I talked about how dominated my team was, and it doesn't show up in the box score, but really should have been a domination with Andy Dalton and Deontay Johnson is what I'm hearing.
I have a theory I want to run by y'all with we were talking about Brandon Ayuk. Do you think that now that like Brandon Ayuk's paid, that there's like something in the back of Brock Purdy's mind where he's like kind of wanting like Juwan Jennings to kind of get his as well? Like he's kind of, getting him the ball a little bit more.
He also just got paid. Right?
Oh, did he? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think Juwan Jennings just got paid this offseason as well. I mean, a lot of people have been saying like didn't get paid enough. Like it felt like a lot at the time, but I think that it was like it seemed like a lot for the wide receiver 3 who hadn't really done much until this year. But I think that he actually did get paid a pretty large sum this offseason.
2 years, $15 million. He kind of falls a bit into the Dontavian Wicks category, where his contingent upside is awesome. He's a really good player who just isn't going to see great usage or even play that much when everyone's healthy, but in a strong offense and being a pretty solid talent, certainly a lot of juice there if there are any injuries.
Yeah, for sure. So it's 15 million total or per year, Jake?
Total. So that's like 7.5 a year.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. All right.
I do think to answer Justin's question, though, I do think our film charters noted that, Ayuk just isn't a part of the game plan in some games. So I think it kind of just depends what the defense gives them. And unfortunately, we haven't really been able to pinpoint what exactly a defense could show that would make them force feed Ayuk. So hopefully that's something we can, dial in a bit more on throughout the year. But, we know he shreds single high. We know he shreds man. So I'd continue to look for those matchups. But, after a disappointing performance against New England, I am a bit more hesitant about it, I suppose.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a talking point during best ball. Is there are people who are like, well, Brandon Ayuk has never had a 30 fantasy point game, like has never really flashed real upside. And I kind of poo-pooed that. I was like, I feel like it's a small sample size. He clearly has the talent to get there. And it feels like they should be forcing the ball more, because you look at his underlying metrics, always looks really awesome, like yards per route run, that kind of stuff. But they don't seem to care. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he just won't ever hit that upside, because maybe the Niners just don't want to involve him to the same extent as George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, etc. I don't know. I was pretty in on Ayuk coming into the year, pretty disappointed in the way things have gone so far. But I guess we'll see. Maybe that changes. Now, Justin, as the guest, and I told you this before the show, you kind of went back and forth. You get to choose where you go in the draft, and then Jake will go before me this week because it's an odd week. Justin, which pick would you like?
I'm gonna go first, and I switched to first because I think there's a chalk play I really want.
All right, so it's just a matter of you like the play that's available at first better than what's probably going to be available at second.
Yeah, I think everything else besides this pick, I can it won't be as obvious.
All right. Well, so it's as we said, it's a snake draft. So Justin's going to go first. Then it's going to be Jake. Then I get 2 picks, back to Jake, back to Justin for 2, et cetera, et cetera. We will go on like that. But Justin, you are now officially on the clock. Who would you like with your first pick?
I'm going to take Jordan Mason. I'm going to run it back.
Hasn't. I mean, I guess he let down kind of 1 week, but yeah, against Arizona, feels like a pretty good bet at 7,400. Is it just a matter of the matchup is too good and the volume is too good?
I see a high total. I like the matchup. I see somebody in the CMC role, and like every time CMC was playing last year on slates, if he was 9K or under, I was playing him at a like 25 to 50% clip. It's just kind of where it is, and Jordan Mason's in that role, and he's 7,400, so I'm gonna keep playing him.
Yep, 28.75 implied team total for the Niners, 2.75 better than the second best implied team total on the slate. Makes a lot of sense to take the running back there, and I assume actually what is the spread there? It is negative 7.5 looks like. So they are favored heavily. Obviously, a great game script for Jordan Mason. Hard to disagree with that Jordan Mason pick. Jake, now on to you for your first round pick.
Yeah, I think that was a great pick by Justin. I think if I was picking first overall, I also would have taken Jordan Mason. He's in that CMC role, like Justin said, but he isn't seeing the pass catching volume. So I think you really want to target those positive game scripts. And, 7.5 point favorite against a Arizona team that's the 6th softest schedule adjusted matchup for opposing running back seems like a layup at the 101. I do think there's another running back who's in a comparable tier to Jordan Mason. And honestly, I didn't think there was a huge advantage to picking first because of this. I'm going to go with Derrick Henry here. The big dog is back, and the Cincinnati Bengals can't tackle at all. They are, I believe, bottom 3 in yards after contact allowed, bottom 3 in missed tackles allowed. Derrick Henry's running like no other. Baltimore is really pounding the rock. Negative 16% pass rate over expectation over the last 2 weeks. They were slightly positive in the first 2 weeks of the season. So they've really turned run heavy as of late. Really like Derrick Henry in the spot. He'll be massive chalk right behind Mason, I imagine.
I see I'm getting trolled by Fantasy Guru Drew in chat for calling it a negative 7.5 instead of, I guess, minus 5.5. I don't do sports betting. Okay. I can't sports bet here in Minnesota. We don't talk right about it, I guess, or I don't talk right about it because I don't do it. But really, I just think it's Fantasy Guru Drew has sour grapes after getting last place last week. He's just, looking for ways to needle me, I assume. All right. On to me for back-to-back picks. And now I'm questioning myself because you guys both kind of paid up, and I'm wondering if I need to be thinking about paying up. I don't think that is the route I'm going to go here. No, it's not. I'm going to go a different direction. I think I'm going to go with Jordan Whittington. He's been looking great, great for the Rams. One of the better point per dollar plays on the slate against Green Bay. Toledo, I love that. Toledo, exactly right. I think Jordan Whittington is going to be a great point per dollar play here against the Packers. I think the volume is going to be there. He's looked really great so far this year, leading in some separation metrics. So I am going to go with Jordan Whittington as my top pick, just 4,600. You guys both paid up, so I'm taking kind of a different route, going with the value plays first. I'm going to go with Jordan Whittington. I'm also going to go with Trey Sermon with Jonathan Taylor out this week. I don't think it's officially out yet, but I think we're expecting him to miss multiple weeks. So in a nice matchup, I am going to take Trey Sermon at 5,700 as the facto.
That's a good one. I really like that. That's sharp. That's sharp. I like that.
Yeah, I saw you and Debro were talking about him a little bit earlier, or maybe Drew. I don't know who it was, but you guys were talking about Trey Sermon, and I think he's pretty solid value there at 5,700. Should just get, I think, the bulk of the carries there. I don't know if he's good, but apparently they think he's good because they had him ahead of Evan Hull even before Evan Hull got hurt. So the Colts seem to believe in Trey Sermon, so I'm going to just expect that he has a pretty big role here in a nice matchup with Jacksonville. Jake, we will hand it back to you for your second pick.
Yeah, thought those were pretty solid picks, Neil. The Trey Sermon pick is interesting. I imagine he's going to come in as like a fringe top 8-ish value if Anthony Richardson plays. If Anthony Richardson sits, though, I think Trey Sermon might be among the best plays of the slate at any position. Same with Josh Downs. So yeah, the Anthony Richardson health status is going to be huge for this slate. I do think it's likely he plays. They didn't seem to indicate it was a very serious hip pointer issue he was dealing with, but let's see. For my second pick here, so there's another running back that I do feel like is in a comparable tier to Jordan Mason and Derrick Henry that I'm not sure is going to make it back around to me, and I do think I can make it work at wide receiver, so I'm just going to grab Kenneth Walker. He has looked absolutely awesome, or he looked absolutely awesome against a really great Lions run D last week. And he gets the New York Giants this week, who are allowing I believe they're the only team allowing more yards after contact than Cincinnati. So I got two guys who are great after contact against defenses that are terrible after contact. I feel pretty good about it. Really enjoy loading up at some guaranteed running back production in this sort of format.
Yep, makes sense. I like the Kenneth Walker. Man, I cannot believe how much he beat up on those Lions. I mean, at first it was looking like it was a little bit of a scam because his first 2 touchdowns, it was like, okay, he's 10 carries for 36 yards and 2 touchdowns. He just happened to get those 2 goal line carries. By the end of the game, though, he had like a 6.8 yards per carry average, 3 touchdowns, just absolutely actually involved in the passing game last week too, which you don't really think of Kenneth Walker as being really involved in the passing game, but last week ended up being targeted pretty heavily. I think he had 4 or 5 catches in the game. Man, if he's involved in the passing game, it's just going to be wheels up for Kenneth Walker. Great matchup with the Giants. Yeah, hard to take issue with that one. Now, Justin, back to you, and you have back-to-back picks here.
Going to follow suit. I'm going to take a running back that I think is just kind of, like he said earlier, that he's just kind of the offense at this point, Kyren Williams. I think that game's going to be high scoring. I could see Stafford, like you said, dumping the ball off Jordan Whittington a bunch, dumping it off to Kyren Williams a bunch. Kyren Williams finding the end zone possibly a few times. I just really like that play.
Yep, I like that play as well. Definitely somebody that I was kind of thinking of. But then I took Jordan Whittington. I'm like, do I want to have 2 Rams on the team? I don't know. I might have taken it with my next pick anyway, just because I have saved the salary. But you do get another pick here, Justin. You get back-to-back with the snake format.
Yeah, I feel like I can get the receivers I want. So I think I'm going to go. Yeah, man, this is tough because I don't know what's going to come back to me. I'm going to take Chuba Hubbard. I'm going to go 3 running backs.
Ooh, all right.
There's only 3 of us. I'm going to take, the high floor with this. I think these 3 running backs can give you that high floor.
Yeah, Chuba Hubbard, man, Andy Dalton has really revived that offense. Chuba Hubbard looking really good since Andy Dalton joined the starting lineup. Yeah, it's so you're locking yourself in the flex already. So 3 running backs to start for Justin. Now I am glad that I took Trey Sermon because now you guys are eating up all of the running backs. So I'm glad I got 1 early, so I'm not completely boxed out. Are you going to do the same thing now, Jake? Are you going to take a 3rd running back here?
I don't know that I am. I'm seeing things as relatively even now. 6 of the top 10 running back values per the Wednesday fantasy points projections are off the board right now. The remaining players feel relatively equal to me, so I think I'm going to look more at wide receiver here. You know what? I'm going to go with the guy who I was hoping and praying I would get last week, and I came so close. Neil gave a speech like I was about to get him, and then rug pulled me in pretty brutal fashion. I'm going to take Deontay Johnson.
All right,
Oh,
Johnson.
good pick. Good pick.
You got him. You got him this week. I maybe I should have taken him. I should have done the speech again this week. Some speech that was going to mislead you and just taken him. Are you worried that he's questionable, Jake?
I am not. You're showing the news blurb on the screen. They're not worried. They're just trying to get ahead of it. So yeah, really no concerns there. He popped up last week with a groin, and like all the insider stuff was like, oh, it was because the field was wet. That's how cautious they're being with Deontay, is they'll just hold him out for whatever. I mean, he's getting open like crazy. I think without him, the Carolina passing offense could start running into some issues. So it makes sense to be cautious.
Did you know, though, that Jordan Mason knew he was a starter for the 49ers like 3 days before Christian McCaffrey was ruled out? Could be the same thing with Deontay Johnson. Sometimes these teams aren't entirely straightforward.
Should I be DMing Xavier Legette to see if he knows something?
Yeah, good point. Maybe I should draft Xavier Legette. I don't think I'm going to, but maybe something to consider. All right, now who do I want to go to? I was just looking at it, thinking about who I might want. It's interesting. Do I want to pay down again? You know what? Wait. Yeah, I am. I'm going to go with, I think I did this exact same duo last week. I went with Jamar Chase and Andre Yoshevas. I'm locking them in. Baltimore has been awful against the pass. It's been just a total pass funnel so far this year. And I'm going to lean into it with Jamar Chase and Andre Yoshevas once again. T. Higgins could, of course, absolutely crush me, but I'm going to take that chance with the wide receiver 1 and the value wide receiver, both from Cincinnati, in a great spot against Baltimore. Just lock it in with both of them. Just 12,000 total for both Chase and Yoshevas feels pretty good to me. So that is where I'm going to go here, and I'm going to send it back to Jake.
Yeah, for this kind of format, I don't know if I love taking teammates that play the same position. But you do, man.
It worked last week. I just to refresh your memory, I took these exact 2 last week and ended up winning. So
I guess so. Yeah, really can't fault you for that then. Let's see. So I'm debating between a value wide receiver and, tight end is just brutal this week. There are a couple decent values, nothing that really gets you excited. But I do not want to be left as, the last guy to take a tight end here. So I'm just going to go Colby Parkinson. Again, not particularly excited about the player or the price, but he's one of the best tight end values on this slate. Only 3,700. He's running basically every route for the Rams. He's, I believe, second in targets over the last couple of weeks for Los Angeles. So again, it isn't a very exciting pick, but I think on this particular slate in this format, relatively okay with taking Colby Parkinson and then just filling the rest out later.
Yeah, you're not kidding about the tight ends. Just looking at the top end of the tight end is everybody's questionable. Hard to get too excited about anybody on this slate. Makes sense. Lock in. Now we each have a Rams player, so we're all kind of leveraging against each other. Justin, so now you have your 3 running backs on the board. Now you get back-to-back picks once again.
I like these 2 picks. I'm going Tucker Kraft and Dontavian Wicks. We got Christian Watson out. And with that happening, last game, there was 22 targets between Dontavian Wicks and Tucker Kraft. I want all of that, both of them at a cheap price, 3,500 and 5,000.
How did I not see Dontavian Wicks? I absolutely should have taken Dontavian Wicks earlier. 5,000, man. Yeah, I like that pick quite a bit. Where's Tucker Kraft?
3,500.
Is Musgrave in for this game? I know Kraft has kind of been outplaying him anyway. But wasn't Musgrave kind of? I don't remember if he ended up playing last week.
I think they just outright prefer Kraft. I can double check, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, you're right. He doesn't even have a Q tag. But I think you're right.
85% route share for Kraft, and I think 100%.
I did not realize that it had been that.
It was
locked in.
really, it was quite high. Don't quote me on that, but it was one of the highest of the week. And I think, I mean, those are fantastic picks. Dontavian Wicks has popped massively in any sort of per route efficiency metric you look at, whether it's separation, targets per route run, yards per route run. I mean, he's crushed on a low sample. He's just never gotten, a full-time route share. And he did last week 80% after Christian Watson left the game. And what do you have, 12 targets? Just really great picks. And I think if you are going to take teammates that, both catch passes, you want to grab cheaper guys. Because Neil's running the risk of spending $12,000 in salary on two teammates. Justin got away with it for what, $8,500? Yeah, I think that's a better strategy overall. So great job, Justin.
We'll see, Jake. I mean I agree that it's nice, but 4,000 for Andre Joshua. So I got a value pick in there as well. Totally both of them can hit together. Andre Joshua, Jamar Chase, and I'm just not taking the lip from the guy who has yet to win a cage match. 4 weeks in, 0-4. I mean, just hard to really take the advice all that seriously. But you do you, Jake. It is your pick. You
will not break my spirit, Neil. Also, I was correct. 84% route share for Tucker Kraft last week.
All right, nice.
Really, really awesome stuff. Coming back around to me here, I do think I need a little bit more value. The Colby Parkinson pick was okay, but I only 5,100 remaining per player. Could definitely use a little bit of value. I will go with tougher matchup. Oh man, Josh Downs would be such a good pick if we knew Flacco was starting. Quarterback is so flat. Yeah, actually, I'm going to take a defense. I'm going to go with the Broncos defense because I think they're the best defensive play on the board. Wow. I know that's a bit unconventional.
That is a bit unconventional
given the format, but I just view the other positions as being relatively flat going forward. I don't really have anyone who particularly stands out. So okay with that. Opens up a lot of salary, and like I said, I think that's the best defense on the board for this sort of format.
All right, it's back to me for back-to-back picks, but I do want to touch on a couple comments. Keith Fape says, can Steele participate in MLB DFS? He cannot. MLB players can bet on everything except for baseball. So no, Steele cannot. And then Eric Ramirez says, how TF, I don't know if I can swear in here, how TF did y'all get Justin Steele? Let's talk about that a little bit, Justin. So Justin has been on my channel actually several times already. We become friends because Justin is obsessed with fantasy football. So Justin, can you tell me a little bit about your fantasy football background and how you got into knowing a lot of DFS players?
Yeah, so got into fantasy back in 2019, 2020, just doing regular fantasy football. Then I started dabbling with DFS, just casually, ended up falling in love with it. I noticed that it was making me better just overall in fantasy and whatnot. Probably around a year ago, I just kind of started messaging people, and Drew reached back out to me and was willing to, he was just super nice to me, was willing to help me out, kind of show me the ropes. And yeah, it's kind of been just a free range highway ever since then. I've met you, I've met Debro, just great people, great friends. And yeah, I mean, we chop up slates all the time. I mean, I literally love doing this stuff. I do it regardless. So it's just fun doing it in this format.
Yeah, and Justin loves digging into the fantasy football data more than you would probably expect for somebody who is a Major League Baseball pitcher. You'd probably think a lot of baseball players they play fantasy football but not all that serious about it. Justin is as serious as anybody as I know about fantasy football. Loves talking about it. So yeah, just another fellow fantasy football degenerate who he's described himself this way: a fantasy football lover who happens to throw a baseball really well, or something along those lines.
It's a great description.
Yeah. By the way, Justin, speaking of all the cards that you have in your man cave, how many of them are baseball cards?
And this one, all my best cards aren't here. I got a lot back home. One of my better ones is a Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card that I have back home. It's not here. I got a few of my own in these cases. I have a few teammates. The coolest card I have in here though is probably my Luka rookie. That's a PSA Gem Mint 10.
Is that a Prism or what kind of card is it?
It's a select.
Okay, nice.
Which is probably just under Prism as far as that stuff goes.
Yeah.
Of course, National Treasures and all that stuff is higher end, but as far as stuff that they sell retail, Select is just under that.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm very familiar with Select. I have at times been very into collecting cards. Yeah, you think Justin, has the money, but he doesn't necessarily spend all of his money go as he's looking for deals in the cards all the time. Anyway, the Griffey one. So as I recall, Ken Griffey Jr. and it's been a while, but there's like one that has like an error on it. That's like the top Griffey rookie card. Is this ringing a bell at all? I feel like there's one that has like
I know of an error card that is sought after, but it's not a King Griffey card. But you could be right. I could be unfamiliar with the one you're talking about.
Is it is it an upper deck rookie, or do you know what type of rookie it is for Ken Griffey?
The one I have is a Topps. It's like a Topps Tiffany, so it's like
you got a Topps Tiffany. Okay, yeah.
It's like super short print.
Yeah. Okay. That's another one of those that's sought after for Ken Griffey Jr. All right. I feel like I could talk cards with Justin all day, so I'll try to get back on track here and talk about the teams that we're drafting.
I will say my only card is a Deontay Johnson rookie card. So
is it really?
It's the only one
it's probably doing pretty good right now.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't looking great weeks 1 and 2, but Andy Dalton has brought it back to life, man.
Yeah, really resurrected Deontay Johnson. All right, so I've got Yoshevich Chase.
You might want to complete that stack.
I could. I guess theoretically somebody could pop in and steal T. Higgins, but it's a 3-man contest. I don't really feel like I need to necessarily go out of my way to complete it.
T. Higgins is where your mind went.
Yeah, T. Higgins. Immediately got to get T. Higgins part of the stack also. No, I'm saying one of you could take Burrow from me, but I'm not that scared of it. There are different ways I could go, so I'm not too worried about getting Burrow here. Let me see. Are there any tight ends that I want? I feel like you guys have your running back, so like I don't need to go out of my way to get a running back at this point. I think I continue with actually not even continue. I have not taken anybody. Christian Watson out. I think Jaden Reed is just awesome in a great matchup with the Rams. So you went out and got Dontavian Wicks, who I love at 5,000, but I think Jaden Reed at 6,500 is a pretty damn good value as well. So I am going to lean in there on Jaden Reed. Now I'm done with wide receivers. I need running backs, tight ends, quarterback, defense, and I have 5,300 left per player. All right. Who do I want at tight end? I think McBride is going to play this week. Is Kittle playing this week? All right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Kittle is going to play this week, but I'm not 100% confident. I did play. I took Kittle 2 weeks ago, and then he was ruled out shortly after I took him, or questionable shortly after I took him. So maybe not the right way to go here. Brock Bowers does still feel like he at some point is going to be a target monster. I don't love the matchup with Denver. I don't love the Vegas offense in general. This is tough. This is a tough week. Man, Mark Andrews down at 4,000 at this point. RIP all my best ball shares of Mark Andrews. You know what? I'm just going to go. I'm going to pay up. I am going to take Brock Bowers. With Devonta Adams out once again this week, I think Bowers should be more of, he was not, a target monster last week, but I think at some point he should be. So I'm going to lean into that with Brock Bowers and send it back to Jake for his next pick.
Yeah, makes me even happier. I took the Denver defense. Gives me some great leverage on your Brock Bowers pick there. Man, quarterback is so flat. I'd be pretty fine with any of the top 5 or 6 options. So I'm probably looking at wide receiver again here. And I have a little bit of salary to play with. Let's see. I probably would have taken Jaden Reed had you not taken him. So that was a solid pick, Neil. I will go with Jaden Reed Sr., also known as Deebo Samuel. If I had drafted Jordan Mason, I probably would not be looking at Deebo as a pick. But projects really well. 6,800 is always a great price for Deebo. Once he gets into the mid 7s, it starts to get a little iffier, but he's always gonna pop as a pretty strong value at just 68. And I'm in the middle, right? So I don't.
You're on the yeah.
Pick. All right, yeah.
So we're back to Justin. Justin still has 5,100 left per player with the defense to potentially save some salary here. Needs a quarterback, 2 wide receivers, and a defense. 5,100 left per player, and gets to make 2 of those picks now. Justin, have you figured out who you want here?
Yeah, I see a trend where we're focusing on the same offenses, which is a good thing, I would say. I'm gonna just double check real quick.
I can pull up prices on the screen too if that's what you're looking
Yeah,
for.
I'm gonna go Jaden Daniels. Give me that rushing upside. I think he's gonna run at probably 1 touchdown for sure, possibly 2. And then give me. I'm just gonna go ahead and complete that stack. Give me Terry McLaurin.
You love that stack. That is one of
It
Justin's
is.
go-tos
It's
in
my
best
stack.
ball.
It's
Yeah,
my stack and
it is
nobody
Justin's
else's.
stack. Yeah, you kind of need to have that stack. Any concerns about the Cleveland defense for those two?
Not really, and just the way like Cleveland offense has been moving, like I could just see Washington having a ton of opportunities, like
Yeah.
them turning the ball over in just different ways. Like I could actually see the Washington offense pop.
Yeah, Cleveland's been playing really fast too, which is pretty abnormal given that generally when you have a poor offense, you want to slow things down a little bit. They haven't been, and obviously that's been great for game pace. I thought the Jaden Daniels blurb that I wrote that'll be in Scott Barrett's slate breakdown was absurd. He leads the entire NFL in EPA. He's had more scoring drives than he's thrown incompletions. He's setting completion percentage records. He's also got a 71% completion percentage on throws of 10 plus yards. So that's the best by any rookie since at least 2006. He's doing it all through the air. We haven't even seen a 100-yard rushing game yet. I do think Jaden Daniels was, the best quarterback value on the slate, but like I've said, I think it's pretty tight at the top. That said, had I taken a quarterback, it certainly would have been Jaden Daniels.
Justin, are you going to be targeting any Jaden Daniels rookie cards?
Yes. I've actually been trying to pick some breaks. The 2024 products are starting to release right now, so I'm trying.
Oh, are they just coming out? I was going to ask.
Yep.
Is National Treasures out yet?
No, the only 2 products that have came out is Gold Standard and Origins.
Okay, I didn't know that they're doing.
I might get some Origins. Not the biggest Gold Standard fan, but I like Origins. So
yeah, I used to do some Gold Standard for basketball, but it just never really like resold that well. Like some of them look pretty cool for Gold Standard, but yeah, not necessarily my favorite product out there. But Origins is kind of cool. Do they have? I feel like they've had different years. They've had on card or sticker autos. Do you know what they have this year? It is on card this year. Nice. Yeah. Okay. All right, back to Jake. You have 5,300 left per player with a quarterback, wide receiver, and flex left.
Yeah, I think I will complete my stack and grab Brock Purdy here. Just a really great spot against this Arizona defense. This should be one of the highest scoring games of the slate. Love pairing him with Deebo Samuel here. Certainly not going out of my way to stack, but he's, the next best value on the board per the fantasy points projections, and felt time to take a quarterback.
Yep. Can't argue with that one. Brock Purdy looking pretty good against Arizona. All right, now who do I want? I have 52.33 left per player. I do have my defense left. And you guys have both taken your quarterback. So I can save my quarterback at this point. Little gamesmanship here. So I can save that pick.
You're definitely thinking. You're definitely thinking.
I am thinking. Yep. It's tough. It's tough because I want to spend down, I think. Direct leverage. I mean, Cleveland, I don't really want to bet against Jaden Daniels. I like the Browns defense being 2,700. I don't love that they're playing against Washington. I have Trey Sermon. I guess I could go with the Colts defense. It's not the best defense though. This is tough. This is a tough one for me. Patriots against, they're running Huntley out there again this week.
Patriots are projected to be the highest on defense on the slate.
All right. Well, that's just a good pick, I think, for a 3-man contest. Don't need to worry about the salary there. Now I have 6,400 left per player with a quarterback and a running back left. Are there running backs I like here? Yeah, this is actually perfect. I can save for Burrow here by going with just eating into this offense even more, going with Josh Jacobs at 6,400. Man, this lineup is coming together well for me. I am loving this. Got the 2 Green Bay picks. Jordan Whittington on the bring back. Yeah, it's just a beauty. Thank you, Justin. All right.
Neil, does it concern you at all that Emmanuel Wilson is playing on about 40% of snaps?
No, not really. I mean, I think Josh Jacobs is, if he's just the 1A, I think he's good enough against this Rams defense. Now, of course, I made that mistake last week with Roshan Johnson. I thought should have been able to crush the Rams defense, but obviously more confident in Josh Jacobs' role. Like, I don't think that Emmanuel Wilson is really a threat to like overtake Josh Jacobs. I think it's like different weeks he's going to have varying degrees of that RB2 role, but I think Josh Jacobs is just good enough to maintain that RB1 role, especially against the Rams. Just like he should be able to run all over them. So, I don't love it. I prefer a bigger, better role, more defined, but no, I think Josh Jacobs just against the Rams, I'll take that all day.
Yeah, he's still getting the inside the 10 work too. So I think that's pretty crucial for a guy like Jacobs. Back to me here, right?
Yeah, so you have a wide receiver in flex left, 48.50 left per player.
Yeah, this is a little tricky. I feel very lukewarm about a lot of the wide receivers that are still on the board here. I'll just grab the value piece in Darius Slayton. I don't love it, but there's just nowhere else for these targets to go. The matchup isn't great. And we know they're going to pepper Wandale with all the sub 5-yard targets. Slayton's really just a salary relief piece for me, and leaves me with 5,800 left. So it gives me some flexibility for the flex spot there. I was projecting the Giants on Tuesday for the fantasy points projections, and man, it is really hard to redistribute a 35% target share. Tough to figure out where that's going to end up going, but Slayton should benefit in some capacity.
Yep. All right. Yeah, it does look like probably not going to be a go. Malik Neighbor still not practicing today. I had not seen the latest update that he was still not practicing. Hate to see that, man. Malik Neighbor's been so good this year, and this would be a great matchup for him. But yeah, makes Slayton definitely a great pick there. Justin, now you get your final 2 picks with a wide receiver and a defense here. 37.50 left per player.
Yes, I did. There was only one player that I had to change out of this lineup, which I feel really good about. It was Deontay Johnson. He sniped him from me. There was actually one more that got sniped from me. 1 second. He grabbed. Who was it? What he grabbed? Who are the receivers you grabbed?
Jake took Deontay Johnson, Deebo Samuel, Darius Slayton. I have Jordan Whittington, Jamar Chase, Andre Yoshevas, and Jaden Reed.
Okay. Well, I'm going Tutu Atwell to bring back the Green Bay Packers.
Yep.
With the injuries, he had 4 catches, like 70-something yards, about 6 targets. See them being behind, see them having to air it out. I have him and Kyron Williams to bring back the Green Bay play, and then I'm going to go Colts D. It's not because I love the Colts D. I just think Jacksonville really doesn't have an identity right now. They don't really know where to go at this point. I could see them turning the ball over a few times.
Yep. Hard to argue with that pick. So Justin, your final team, Jaden Daniels stacked up with Terry McLaurin. I'll ask you to go over your team, I guess, after we're done, but I'll just read it off since it is done now. Jaden Daniels with Terry McLaurin. You have Jordan Mason and Kyron Williams at running back, along with Chuba Hubbard in the flex. Also have Dontavian Wicks and Tutu Atwell in the lineup with the Colts defense. Use the full salary cap. Looks like a really nice team. We'll review the teams after Jake and I are done with our picks as well. Jake, now you get your final pick, 5,800 left for the flex.
Yeah, there are a couple wide receivers I think you could argue here, but overall, the best value is pretty clear. It's Jerome Ford. The usage has been really strong, especially when Cleveland falls behind. A snap share is closer to 50% when they're playing with the lead. They prefer a little bit more Deontay Foreman there. But when they're playing from behind, it's pretty much all Jerome Ford. A little worried he could get vultured at the goal line, but the usage has been really, really great. At just 5,800, the matchup is obviously really strong. And if Washington gets out to a quick lead, and they've been playing recently like they should get out to a quick lead, Jerome Ford, could be out on the field for 85% of snaps, which feels really good at 5,800.
Yep. Seems against Washington. We just saw James Conner with the big week last week. 5,800 feels like a nice price tag there for Jerome Ford. Nice pick there. And of course, we already know my pick. I'm going Joe Burrow. I've got the double stack with Yoshevas and Chase already. Closes it out. I guess I'll review my team first, and I'll send it back to Jake to review his team, and then Justin can talk us through his team a little bit. I have, of course, Joe Burrow, double sack with Chase and Yoshivas. Don't have any bringbacks from Baltimore. Again, don't think I really need to in a 3-man contest. I don't always do it even in a large field contest, so feel okay about that. Trey Sermon taking over for Jonathan Taylor, 5,700. Like the price tag. I like the matchup with Jacksonville. Josh Jacobs, love that matchup with the Rams. 6,400 feels like a fair price tag for the matchup with Josh Jacobs. Not overly concerned with the potentially diminishing role with Wilson there. Jordan Whittington, 4,600, just one of the best values on the slate. Should get a lot of targets with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua still out against Green Bay. Just 4,600. Hard not to like the rookie there. Already talked about Chase and Yoshivas. Brock Bowers, we have Devontae Adams out again this week. Not the best matchup with Denver. I think their defense is actually okay. But 5,500, I think he's the price is right there for Bowers. The role should be really good with Devontae Adams out of town. I don't think Patrick Surtain is going to stick with Brock Bowers. I think he'll be on Jacoby Myers most likely. So not really worried about that matchup. Maybe makes it more of a pass funnel for Brock Bowers. Jaden Reed, again, love that matchup with the Rams. Just I always love taking offenses against the Rams in general. Just don't put up much of a fight on defense. And then Patriots against Tyler Huntley and the Dolphins. Man, I played a lot of Tyler Huntley on Monday night on that 2-gamer and knew within about a quarter that it was a huge mistake because just did not look like they were operating an NFL offense at a high level. So I like the Patriots defense there. Feeling pretty good about the team. You use the full salary cap. I like the players. I got the double stack, which again, don't need to do in a 3-man contest, but I think it's fine to do. I like doing it when I can attack a defense that I think is vulnerable, like Baltimore has been against the pass. Jake, back to you, and I'll read off your team real quick. You got Brock Purdy with Deebo Samuel. Just a single stack there. Don't have any Arizona bring back. Derrick Henry and Kenneth Walker at running back. Paid up quite a bit at running back with Derrick Henry, Kenneth Walker, and then also closes out with Jerome Ford, 5,800 against Washington. You've got Deontay Johnson in there against Chicago. Darius Slayton, salary relief, 3,900 against Seattle. Colby Parkinson, again, more salary relief against the Packers, 3,700 for the Rams. And then the Broncos defense against Las Vegas. Tell me about your team. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I feel great about this team. I think this is pretty close to my ideal setup when I was sort of envisioning how these drafts would go. I think, the biggest risk to this team is game script, both with Derrick Henry and Jerome Ford. I think that can, have a pretty massive influence over their workloads. So there's a pretty good chance that, at least between me and Neil, if someone hits, they hit big because, if Cincinnati gets out to an early lead and they're passing the ball really well, you're just not going to see much Derrick Henry in this contest. But yeah, I feel pretty good about the team. And more than that, I feel incredibly proud because we all used all $50,000 of our salary. So Great job, guys. This was a perfect show.
That might be the first time that's happened on one of these shows that we all used all 50,000 of salary. Yeah. Nice job to us. And then finally, Justin, I already read off your whole team. So I'll just ask you, how do you feel about how things came together for this team? Is this close to what you're envisioning? How do you feel about your odds against my team and Jake's team?
Yeah, I feel really good about it. The other guy that I remember was Jordan Whittington. I had him in the lineup originally with Deontay Johnson, and when one of them got taken, I switched it to McLaurin and Atwell, so I was able to get them to at the finished product. I really like it. The one thing I'm worried about is Wicks or Kraft, one of them just get going off and the other one not doing so hot. But like I said, 22 targets between the two of them last week. It's kind of hard to argue with, especially with Christian Watson out. Could also see that game popping off. And then, Colts D, I'm a little worried about. But like I said, Jacksonville's offense just really hasn't looked good, to start the season. Like the 3 running back plays, feel like it gives me a good floor. Jaden Daniels with the rushing upside, stacked with Terry McLaurin. I really like this lineup.
Yeah, it's a really, really nice looking lineup there. We'll see. It should be another close competition this week. Last week we were all within like 5 points of each other. Could have gone anyway, like literally down to the final 3 minutes of the fourth quarter of the. You have a thought, Justin?
You need to switch Kyron Williams and Chuba Hubbard before Drew shits a brick. Or sorry, poops a brick.
All right, Chuba Hubbard. I think that you can swear on this channel. I don't know. You
can. You can. I think the instructions I've gotten from our producers and Trey, you can correct me in the private chat if I'm wrong, is that as long as you avoid anything in the first like 60 seconds,
Okay.
because I guess that impacts the algo.
Okay.
After that, it's, whatever you want to do, man. So
Gotcha.
Yeah. I also just realized I just switched it for you, but you actually have to enter your lineup in the link that I sent you. So I switched it on the screen, but I can't actually enter your lineup.
Mine's
for you.
already entered on
Anyway.
DraftKings.
You entered it into our contest already? I haven't entered the lineup, so I haven't looked at it. Okay, then you're good. So you need to make sure that you have them in the right spot so that Drew doesn't get mad at you. Okay. Good. Okay, good. I just did it for no reason then, because I can't actually enter it anyway. But yeah, that is good now, because you can. So by the way, Justin, the rule that we came up with, and I go back and forth on it with the, like, if a player is injured after you pick them, like, what should the rule be? I put it out on Twitter. Should it be do you just have to do a 1v1, like to the next best player available at that position, or should you be allowed to do a 2v2? Because 2 weeks ago I had to swap out George Kittle and ended up leaving like 1,400 on the table. So I was like, well, that seems kind of unfair that my first round pick was hurt after we did the draft, whatever.
Yeah.
But that was the rule we stuck with. Here's my one, and I think the three of us should decide right now, because I liked the idea that somebody else put in there of, what if you just do you can do a 2v2, but it has to be the defense with the other pick, so you can't like take advantage of other.
What if you're already on the
moves.
cheapest D?
Then you're kind of screwed. Yeah, I mean that would be a case where it's like, what else can you do? I guess you could.
Okay. I'd be okay with the switch, but it just has to be a player that hasn't been taken, and like you obviously like have to go down. You can't go up. You know what I'm saying?
Just a 1v1 switch, or with the defense. You
can
think
do 2v2, but
Okay.
you can't go up. Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, so part of the reason that I wanted to do it was like, I had George Kittle, and I was $100 shy of being able to swap up to Sam Laporta. So I was like, well, if I could just swap down to a lower defense, then I could get Sam Laporta in the lineup.
Yeah,
You think that would be no good? You think that would be like against the rule?
No, that would be good. If you can do it with the defense, I think it's good. But say you have the lowest defense or something, I think you'd be okay to switch a flex out or whatever, as long as you're not like upgrading substantially.
Yeah. Jake, what do you think about doing a 2v2 swap only with the defense, just to give you a little bit more flexibility?
I would be okay with that. I think if we are going to do 2v2s, I feel like I'd probably only be okay with the defense, and maybe that, like, you could make an argument for paying up more when we draft at defense, because, then you just have to leave salary on the table. If you did have to, swap somebody out and you were already on the lowest defense. Yeah, fine with 1v1s as well. I don't hate letting the will of the people decide it, though.
Yeah, maybe I could throw this one back out there again on Twitter and give those two as the options, 2v2 with the defense being the only other swap or something like that. Yeah, it's a little bit hazy, but somebody threw that in the chat when I did the poll before, and I was like, that actually seems like a good idea to be able to do the defense just for a little bit of flexibility, so you're not leaving 1,500 on the table like I was that week. All right, and Justin, one final thing. So you and Drew have been doing this podcast. Well, first of all, how are you enjoying the offseason? You had your final game of the season just last week. Are you enjoying? I know you're back at home now. Are you enjoying your offseason?
Yes, so we're in a new house. Got my new man cave set up. Getting the sauna put in, cold plunge, just getting my off-season home set up the way I want it. Been in the pool a little bit, been in the backyard, hanging out with the family. It's been great so far. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, love to hear that. And I know you're doing some content. I think I saw Drew kind of tease that you guys might have some stuff out for this week. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're probably gonna record something tonight. I think he's going to Vegas tomorrow, so we'll probably get our stuff done tonight.
Nice. And that is the No Huddle podcast. You can find it on Justin's Twitter feed, which is it's at J_Steele21. Is that right?
Yep, that is correct.
Yep. So you can go find it there. Maybe you'll be able to find it if you search No Huddle on YouTube. I don't know how good the YouTube search function is, but you can also find it on Fantasy Guru Drew's Twitter at Fantasy Guru Drew if you want to go check out the content that they're doing. Two really sharp guys talking some DFS this week and season long. I know you're going to go over your Cubs league, which is thousands of dollars to be in the Cubs Fantasy Football League. So
3-1,
Yep. Love to hear it. Steele's team is 3-1 in that Cubs league. So go check out that content. The No Huddle podcast is a great one.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I know. I've been looking forward to it. So I was excited to have it out last week. Jake, how about you? What else do you have coming out this week?
Yeah, you can find all my stuff over at FantasyPoints.com. I'll be helping Scott Barrett out with his big slate breakdown, so you can expect 6, 7, 8,000 words on every relevant play. Come Saturday morning, I'll be doing a pair of shows Friday night, Cashing Points, where me, Graham Barfield, and Hyla, we walk the slate, go game by game, just talk about the best DFS plays, and then a real fun one afterwards, the Underdog Drafter Party, where we rip some Battle Royale drafts, me and Ryan Heath, who is a really, really great writer, really great analyst. That's been a ton of fun. Ryan had, I think, a top 5 finish in one of the single entry tournaments last week. Me and Chris Wecht have been working a little bit behind the scenes on a way that we're going to, rank these players, and we might have that on the site hopefully soon. I can't make any promises because obviously our devs are overwhelmed and there's a ton of other stuff going on, but yeah, really excited for Battle Royale stuff, and you can find all that over on the Fantasy Points YouTube channel.
Hell yeah. And before I do any of my main slate stuff, and I'll have plenty of main slate stuff coming out, but tomorrow, of course, I do a lot of Thursday night football content. I do a full write-up for Fantasy Points, so you can find my write-up and of course I lost my camera right as I'm talking. You can find my Fantasy Points breakdown of the showdown slate will be out tomorrow. I, of course, am also going to be on my own channel, the Flannelverse, doing 2 different breakdowns of the Thursday night football slate, one at noon Eastern with Adam Ship My Money Share, and then I'll be doing another prior to lock. When inactives come out 90 minutes prior to lock, I'll be doing a breakdown of the showdown slate with all the updated news for tomorrow. So that is where you can find me tomorrow. That's the most relevant for now. All right, Justin, really appreciate you coming on the show. This was a lot of fun. Should be, I think, a competitive matchup this week for the 3 of us. So appreciate you, Justin.
Thanks
Jake,
thanks for having me, and Jake, it was a pleasure meeting you. Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, great meeting you too, Justin. This has been a ton of fun, man.
Yeah, awesome, fun show. Jake, of course, appreciate you as always. Appreciate you, people watching, hanging out with us. Hopefully, weigh in the comments with your favorite team. Who do you think is going to win this week? If you haven't already hit the like button, haven't subscribed to the Fantasy Points channel, of course, all of that helps with the YouTube algo. So thank you for hanging out with us, and we will catch you next week.
What?
Why are you shaking your head?
You're welcome.